we're back. I am also gonna just turn the flash on. I feel like you can see it a little bit better. Okay, so we are gonna do coat number 2 of the white. I'm not even really sure you need 2 coats of the white, but I just want it to be nice and even. One of the tricky things with pigment powders is that it really shows any uneven surfaces whatsoever. So you just want it to be really nice and smooth. That second coat kind of helps with that. Okay, so we'll bake that one. And while that one is going, I'm going to turn my light around so I don't ruin my polish. I'm really curious what happens if I do a second coat of color on the first one that we did. So I'm going to put some clear base coat, basically just to give myself an extra sticky layer on the one that I already showed you guys. And we're gonna see what happens when we put 2 layers of eyeshadow on this baby. Okay, so what we have is 2 coats of white with the sticky layer still on. We have one nail that has already had 1 layer of pigment done, and I put the clear with a sticky layer over it, so that one has been baked. And then we just have a clear guy with sticky layer, so sticky layer is key. Also, just one note, different polishes have different sticky layers on them. So for example, my IBD Builder Gel has a really thick sticky layer, and when you're working with powders, the more stuff there is to stick to, the more pigment you'll get. So your mileage may vary. It's kind of a good thing because you get deeper colors, but also it's tougher to get those sort of feather light strokes. So, okay, I'm gonna move these 2. I'm gonna take my white one, open up my palette. This looks like an advertisement for the palette, but it's not really. Okay, and also I have a paper towel here, and it's actually Everclear, because nails in the time of coronavirus means that you don't waste your rubbing alcohol. Everclear works just fine to clear pigment off of brushes and such. So we're gonna start at the bottom of the nail, top, whatever we call it. I don't know, I'm not a nail tech, I just like to play with pretty colors. So you're gonna load up your brush pretty well. I've got quite a bit on there. It's kind of falling off. You'll know you have enough if it's sort of dusting off. So, and just real light strokes. And you're just gonna kind of do. This one's got a little bit of sparkle to it, which is really nice. So, okay. And there's sort of a good sized line there. We'll come back to that and blend it in a little bit, but we want to get the other color on there first. So I'm not going to clean my brush with alcohol. I'm just going to kind of wipe the pigment off because the colors aren't too different. Ooh, I got pink on the orange. If you do clean your brush with alcohol, make sure that you dry it because you don't want a wet brush if you're going to be working with dry powders. So I'm going to load it up with some orange here. And same deal, we're just gonna do. So, and I'm leaving a little bit of white space in there, not much, just enough that I don't really want to go over the pink too much. Okay, so we've got good yellow area there, or I'm sorry, orange. Now we're gonna go to this sort of yellow greeny color. We're gonna go right over the top. Make sure you get the sides because they will show very clearly if you don't. So now we're gonna play around with blending a little bit. We're gonna blend that yellow over the orange. Okay, and also, so notice there's like a little white space right there. You wanna be careful what you go back and put there because that's gonna be the color that shows. So, all right, so let's go back and get a little bit of this pink. We're gonna come back over this one. We're going to just blend it down. Okay, and so at this point, my brush doesn't really have much on it. And I'm just gonna sort of rub it in a little bit, see where I need to add some colors here and there. So I think this one might need a little bit more pink down this way to blend it in. That line's pretty harsh. So this is, you know, you'll get a feel for it. You just kind of play around until you like it. Okay. And then I'm also gonna go back and get a little bit of this yellow. Come up here. I really want that orange to blend in nicely. Usually I've got a really light stroke on this, but I'm pressing just a little bit more because I really want to get some of that yellow in there. I want that line to be nice and soft. Also, the light is making this look like candy corn a little bit. It's not. It's pink, orange, and yellow. So, okay, then we're going to do the blue. And I'm going to go at the end because if you start at the end, you can get a nice dense color and then sort of blend your line upward. So I'm going to take some of that off. The darker the color, the less you need, obviously. So you can sort of play around with it a little bit. There we go, and you can see, ooh, okay, so here's a good example of what not to do. I'm going to try to get this in focus. So I pressed too hard and I wiped some of that sticky layer off. Maybe it'll go back on, maybe it won't, we'll see. Yeah, all right, yeah, I was able to fix that a little bit. So there's a little bit of white on the side there. I'm going to take just a touch of blue, get that done. You can sort of change the shape of your blending here too. You go up, and then I'm actually going to take a little bit of that orange, blend it up into the pink. So, I mean, if you're any good at eye makeup, I imagine this is pretty much how it goes. Okay, so pretty much have it done at this point. Okay, so that is the rainbow on white. I'm going to take a little clear coat, just some cheapy top coat here because I haven't opened up my brand new Beetles one. I don't know, Beetles is pretty cheap too. And man, you talk about a top coat moment, it really comes together with pigment powders. I don't know if you can see the sparkle that's happening here, but it's so pretty. Okay, and the top coat will also start to sort of blend things a little bit. Don't press too hard on the top coat, it will smear your colors. Okay, let's stick that in the oven. Okay, so while that one is working, I'm gonna see what happens when we put a second coat of color. So remember, this is the one that I showed in the group, and I just put a base coat over it so that I would get clear with a sticky layer. We'll kind of see what happens here. So the goal is that it's going to make things a little bit bolder. I don't know if it's actually going to happen. And then once your brush kind of doesn't have much on it, you can brush over a little bit that way. Yeah, so I'm definitely getting more color on this second round. If you find that you get pigment in the wrong place, just blow on it. Don't try to brush it. It will stick to the sticky layer. So don't do that. Yellow. So I'm not even sure this is like the greatest color combination, but it's pretty good for showing how well you can blend some of these things. What's your nail music? What do you guys listen to when you're doing nails? Mine is almost always Dua Lipa. Sometimes there's a little bit of drag queen music interspersed in there, a little bit of Lady Gaga. I'd love to hear what you guys listen to though. Okay, ooh, all right, that's a lot brighter than the other one. So let's top coat it this is exactly the result I wanted, so show you guys the difference here in a second. We'll bake this one. Again, light hand on the top coat because it will mess with your colors if your hand is too heavy. Okay. All right, so here's the one with just one coat of colors. So that's that guy. Put that one aside. Okay, and then last but not least, I'm gonna see what happens. We're gonna do an experiment live on camera here. See what happens when we do some colors over clear. So I think it was Marie in the group who said that hungover would make a really pretty ombre with karaoke and damage control. So we're gonna see what we can do with these. This is a pretty dark color, so I'm actually going to take what is essentially an empty brush, and I'm going to pat it back here on the color and then pat it forward a little bit, and I feel like that's going to help me blend things a little better because that's a pretty solid line right now, and I want it to be a lot softer than that, so I'm going to kind of just try to like pull some of that forward, and we'll see what becomes of it. Okay, and we'll do karaoke here. Marie, you're right, these are really pretty. So this base coat has, I think, a thicker sticky layer than my white polish does. You can see it's tough to get that really light brush stroke because it really wants to, all the pigment really wants to stick to the sticky layer. Inhibition layer, I think, is the official word for it. And again, we're just going to pat a little bit of color there. And I'm not wearing gloves because pandemic, the hospitals need them. We have a few for other reasons, but typically I would be wearing gloves if I'm making nails for somebody else. But these are just playing around. Got this one, and let's go to damage control. So let's see what that looks like. So damage control is going to be interesting because we'll be able to see what it looks like over clear versus over white. I think this is going to turn out really cool. Thanks for the idea, Marie. Okay, and I'm going to blend that quite a bit. Ooh, I got some blue fingers. And same thing, a little bit too much pressure up there with hungover, so I'm just going to come back, try to fill in that little spot right there, blow off any extras, give it one more. Ooh, I'm into it. So I'm going to top coat this guy. Whoa. I really love a good top coat moment. Oh my gosh, you guys, these are gonna turn out to be jellies. This is what I was hoping for. Check that out. Wow, holy shit, this is gorgeous. All right, let's bake it. Okay, so everybody is out of the oven. And by oven, I just mean UV light, just in case you're a newbie and you don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, so we're gonna go first to last. So this is the first one. This is the one I showed in the group. And, ooh, sorry about that. So this is the one that has 2 layers of eyeshadow pigment to it. So, y'all, I'm really sorry about my fingers. I was out doing yard work today too. I promise I washed my hands. Okay. This is the one with just the 1 layer of pigment. Whoops, magnets. So, pick those guys up. So yeah, there's definitely a difference between the layers of pigment. It's interesting. Okay. And then you guys, look at this. Whoa. Look at that. I've done ombre with jelly, and I will say that it's easier than ombre with like a solid color gel, but nothing like this. This was an absolute breeze. So I actually just want to take this off of the sticky tack just so that you can see through it and see how pretty it is. Okay, cool. So while I was showing you those, I had another surprise baking for you. So this one, this is a gray nail. It's just a really nice dark gray. And I wanted to play around a little bit. I'm going to top coat it so that there is no sticky layer. I'm going to make sure that there's no sticky on the gray because we're going to do something else cool with this one. I just recently got some spider gels and I'm really into them. But a lot of people use spider gels, and so I'm trying to sort of figure out some fun ways to change it up a little bit. So can you guess what I'm gonna do? Okay, we're back. So I have a nice gray nail. I really love this gray. It's just cheapy Model 1's polish, but it's really pretty. So you didn't know you were gonna get a spider gel tutorial in this too. Not totally sure this is the best spider gel ever. This is my kind of first try at it, but I'm going to mix it up a little bit, wipe it off if you've never used it. Spider gel is super sticky and stringy, and it kind of makes these spider webs. So it takes a little bit of finesse, but what I want to do is I'm just going to kind of get some there. I'm gonna let it run down. And we're gonna whoop. So spider gel is cool because it'll make these really thin, clean lines. Whoop. It's okay. Obviously, I'm not a pro at spider gel. Jen in the group is really good at it. Maybe she can give me some tips. Okay, so I'm just gonna do that. Take it, woo, remove my gel so I don't ruin it. Also, this is a gel that I got on Amazon. While that's cooking, I think, where are my other gels? Came in a set of all of these colors. I'll post the link if you guys want, but I think it's just sort of cheapy, generic spider gel. The blue, though, is like a glass gel, and it's amazing. So, honestly, it was worth the $10 just for that one. Okay, so that guy's out. Okay, so now we have a nice, like, dolphin gray, and we have spider gel. So remember, I put clear coat over the gray, and there is no clear coat, therefore there is a sticky layer on the spider gel. So let's get the eyeshadows back. Let's see what we can do here. Paper towel back over here. Woo, shaky camera. Oh man, so it's not baked. I just smeared it. So hold on, we'll be right back. Okay, take two. The thing about spider gel is it is heavily pigmented. So I think sometimes the pigments will block some of the UV light from letting it cure fully. So obviously this is just a practice nail. It's fine that it's got that little smudge there. But we're doing the same technique that we did before, but the cool thing is, man, it's still not cured. All right, well, I don't know if I can recommend these spider gels because after 2 minutes it should be cured. Anyway, the cool thing is that the pigment does not stick to the places where you put the top coat. So you can do this neat design. Just in the interest of not smearing this any further, I'm gonna just pat versus brush. You know what? I want a little bit bolder blue this time, so. Do I? Nah, we'll go back to damage control. Okay. Another thing about working with pigment powder is that you can take a little bit of, I'm just gonna like wipe off what I've got here. You can take a little bit of a solvent, Everclear in my case, alcohol if you've got it to spare, and you can sort of save it here. So I'm gonna try to wipe some of these smears off. Again, this is not, you know, the top coat really should prevent the pigment from sticking to the gray. These areas where there's extra pigment is because for whatever reason the spider gel wasn't cured. Anyway, you can take a solvent and sort of just dab in there. If I were making this for somebody, I would probably just scrap this nail and redo it, but for you guys, this is fine. So I'm gonna blow on it and dry that a little bit. We're gonna go, where'd my brush go? Alright, I'm gonna use a clean brush. So, anyway, you can kind of see what's happening here. Obviously, this is not primo quality, but still pretty cool. And I have a feeling that when I do some top coat, I bet it's gonna clear up some of that messiness also. So be careful not to put too much alcohol where you want the pigment to stay, because it will absolutely run and ruin the whole thing. Move that around. Okay, so let's clear coat it. See how it comes out. Alright, so let's cure it. Alright, so that one is out. Again, if I were making this for somebody else, I would redo it because of that smudge, but it's pretty cool. So one more time. This is the white background with 2 layers of pigment, and I'll take a picture so that you can see them. This is the white background with 1 layer of pigment. This is the clear one that apparently turns eyeshadow into jelly, which is super fun. And then this one is fun with spider gel. So that's how you use eyeshadow to make pretty nails. Okay, bye.